Chapter 3. The Mind's Maze. Depression doesn't just change how you feel. It changes how you think. And the mind, when left unchecked in these states, can become a labyrinth, endless, looping, and increasingly disconnected from reality. This chapter explores how depression distorts thinking, how these thought patterns perpetuate suffering, and what begins to shift when we learn to observe rather than obey the mind. The mechanics of a depressed mind. Cognitive science and neuroscience confirm what many people with depression know firsthand. Negative thoughts don't just appear more often, they also feel more convincing. Aaron Beck, one of the pioneers of cognitive therapy, identified what he called cognitive distortions that commonly show up in depression. All-or-nothing thinking, if I'm not perfect, I'm a failure. Catastrophizing, everything is going wrong, and it will never get better. Mind reading, everyone can tell I'm broken. Emotional reasoning, because I feel worthless, I am worthless. These aren't just bad habits. They are the brain's attempt to make sense of a low-energy, low-motivation state. But over time, they create a closed loop, where the mind reinforces its own painful beliefs. The default mode network and rumination. The default mode network, DMN, is a set of interconnected brain regions active during rest, introspection, and self-referential thinking. In depression, this network becomes overactive. It leads to rumination, repetitive, often negative thinking that focuses on the past, personal failures, or imagined future disasters. Studies using fMRI scans show that people with depression often get stuck in DMN activity. Their thoughts spiral without resolution, exhausting mental energy and further dimming motivation. It's not a personal failure. It's how the brain is functioning under the weight of this condition. But understanding this mechanism helps disidentify from it. You are not your thoughts. You are the witness of thoughts. Awareness breaks the loop. Mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, MBCT, has shown strong results in reducing relapse rates for depression. Why? Because it teaches people to observe their thoughts without fusing with them. This is not about replacing negative thoughts with positive ones. It's about seeing thoughts as thoughts, not facts. As Alan Watts said, you are under no obligation to be the same person you were 5 minutes ago. In other words, thoughts are transient, not truths. When you see them as passing weather rather than permanent sky, you reclaim some power. The myth of fixing the mind. One of the traps of depression is believing that if you could just think the right way, you would be fine. But the mind cannot think its way out of every hole, especially not one it helped dig. Healing requires space. Not more thinking, but less identification with thought. Practices like meditation, journaling, or therapy are not magic solutions. But they are ways of stepping back and seeing the maze clearly. And often, seeing is the beginning of finding the way out. Reflection practice. Write down a recurring negative thought you've been having. Then ask, is this absolutely true? Who would I be without this thought? Can I allow this thought to exist without believing it? Then sit quietly, even for a minute, and watch the mind move, without chasing it.